Okay, I know this will be interesting. So you took me straight home already and actually presenting a challenge, right? So as a professional, I don't see like your job here in the US is so important. It's so important, right? And you already made an attempt to use that skill set whilst here to actually make something happen at home, and you were presented with a challenge.
Yes.
What?
The roadblocks are enormous. The roadblocks are constant. The roadblocks are there all the time. So unless you have dedication, unless you have the follow through mentality, unless you are a go getter, dedicating yourself to that venture,
Mhm.
you get discouraged easily.
Mm. Well, hello, STEM2Roots. This is your host, Mike Demba. Today I have a special guest. Actually, you guys will find out why. Please, Hannah, please tell. Oh my God, why am I laughing? Hannah, please tell my guest why they're lucky to have you, who you are, why you're here, where you're from, what you do, just anything you can share, just for now, because they'll get to know you more as we speak. Please.
All right. I am Hannah Faye.
Uh-huh.
Well, in America, I'm Hannah Faye, but I'm
Faye, they
Hannah
call you
Faye.
Faye here. Okay.
Yeah. Um, Born in Gambia, West Africa.
Got it.
Um, Migrated in 1995.
95.
Don't do that.
No judgment.
um, Finished high school here
Mhm.
in the United States. Why is your audience lucky to have me?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. They'll find out. Yeah. Yeah. They'll find out. So you came here in 95, high school here, graduated here. What do you do now as a professional?
I'm a data analyst for the VA. Um, I have a computer science degree.
Okay. So computer science degree, data analyst, that's big time. That's big time, Hannah. It is. So especially for the VA. So that tells me your services, your what you're rendering for the US is something major. Everybody that has lived here long enough will hear about the VA, and all the issues out there. So you're out there fixing big time problems. So thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your service. And that takes me to the fact that here you are as an immigrant doing a job that is super relevant to the country. All right. You're not working for just any company, down the street. You're working for the VA, right? As important as that is, uh, uh, you're an immigrant. No matter what your status is here, that's how I see it. I came here like a whole decade after you, but don't do that. But I've lived here long enough to know that the way this country, and this is my assessment, this is my perspective. No matter how long you live here as a non-US born, especially when you're from Africa, everywhere you go, you're seen as an African. Every time I introduce myself, hey, I'm Mike Demba. Where you from? And I'm quick to jump in and telling them, because I live here in Houston now. Oh, yeah, I moved here from Boston. And they'll go, oh, where you really from? You know what I mean? So you've lived here that long, but I feel like you share that same sentiment. Is that right?
I do. And I'm
You
always proud to let them know
Mhm.
I'm from, first of all, when they ask the question, where you from?
Mhm.
My first answer is always Africa. The way the conversation goes after that, I
Mhm.
know how intelligent the person I'm talking to is or
Yes.
how ignorant they are.
Right.
And ignorant not for lack of ability to learn, but ignorant just because America's a bubble.
A a big one.
So if they say Africa, Africa has 52 countries. Which country are you from? Then I say, oh, I'm from the Gambia, smallest country on the continent. Then I go into details. But if they say, oh, Africa, and they stop talking, I'm like, no need. Because when I first got here, they'll ask me, where are you from? I'm like, from Gambia. And they're like, is that near Jamaica? I'm like, you know what? Never mind. I'm just not dealing with this today. So I just started saying Africa.
Yes.
Then from there, I know who I'm dealing with.
I do the same. So you kind of like invented your own gauge on where to take the conversation from. Yeah. Oh wow, that's all right. I'll steal that from you. But
you're welcome to
it. I'm glad we started there, right? That pride you have in where you come from, Gambia, that tiny little West African country. How often do you go home, or when last did you go home?
Every December, if possible. Every Christmas, I go home.
Jeez, so you've been trying to go every year. So
since 2010, yeah.
Wow. So you're that connected. Wow, for the past 13 years or so. So you've been going home, so that means you're aware of the status of our country, the Gambia, and you work here full time. We already mentioned how important your job is here. Have you looked at Africa? Let's talk about Gambia. Have you looked at Gambia at all as a place where your skills, your profession can be translated or transferred as far as like a place of work? Have you ever assessed it that way?
I have. For my master's thesis, I designed a database for the Department of Health for Gambia. That was my thesis. And amazing. I have tried on multiple occasions to talk to somebody in the Ministry of Technology or whatever they call themselves. Moisi, I think they're called.
Okay.
And they're just not interested.
We're going straight there. Wow. All right. You're shifting my conversation straight there.
Because a database in the Gambia is going to halt corruption right there.
I see.
A database for all our certifications doesn't allow these Indians who come in and get birth certificates or passports to get it because you don't have documented history. They're asking Gambians to bring their parents' identification.
Yes.
To get passports. However, their parents were born in the village. They didn't have a birth certificate.
Yes.
So what ID are you bringing them? They're making it difficult for Gambians to prove that they're Gambians, but foreigners come in and they just get into the system. So a database for certifications poses a problem for the people who don't want the transparency. So that's how I see it. That's how I feel.
So that's how you see. That's how you assessed why you did not make progress. Here you are designing that database. You were ready to present that to what? The Ministry of Health.
Ministry of Information, Communication.
But there's some government office you were working with,
right?
And having a skeleton of something that would be important, to actually keeping a certain level of database for that integrity of being able to document yourself in Gambia following a certain path. But that did not fall through.
No.
And your assessment is that it's gonna kind of like rock the boat.
Rock the water. Yeah.
Hannah, okay, I know this will be interesting. So you took me straight home already and actually presenting a challenge, right? So as a professional, I don't see, your job here in the US is so important, right? And you already made an attempt to use that skill set whilst here to actually make something happen at home, and you were presented with a challenge. In 2012, a friend of mine, actually a bunch of us, created this organization, Wergu Yaram. It's a health organization. And our biggest challenge when we got home and we were trying to make something happen was data, right? So in actually building anything, you're the expert here. You know how important data is in order to make any plan happen, right? And we could not get any data, how many how many hospitals, transfer their patients, how many patients come from the rural areas to RVTH, just simple data we could not get. And it stopped us from making any relevant moves. So you pointing this out, I am not surprised at all. When you think about Gambia, when you think about Africa as a whole, do you feel like, after what you faced, that there's a lot of other Africans facing the same thing and that's keeping them from doing something at home or going home?
Yes.
What?
The roadblocks are enormous. The roadblocks are constant. The roadblocks are there all the time. So unless you have dedication, unless you have the follow-through mentality, unless you are a go-getter, dedicating yourself to that venture, you get discouraged easily. Because then you start thinking, well, I'm giving you a database for free. I'm willing to teach your UTG grads how to populate this database. I'm willing to teach them how to add tables, tuples, everything to this database. And you guys are just acting like I'm begging you guys to do me a favor. You're not paying me. I have the database. It's here. It's tangible. Because I needed it for my thesis.
I see. Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I think about it. I'm like, well, I have other things to do. So
for you, at first offer, it was a win-win. Win-win. First, you're doing it for your country. You know how important it will be for them. Second, for your thesis, you wanted at least complete your thesis, but you know how important it will be for Gambia, where you're from. There's a lot of pride there in actually implementing that. But it failed to happen. You didn't fail to graduate because yes, exactly, right. So it's a win-win. Even though you have other routes, you have other options. But we know for a fact, without having the number in mind, there's a lot of people that could have been, benefiting from this big time, right? And now I'm thinking about it broadly, right? I've had this conversation over and over. People present challenges on why they've not gone home, why they've not, why home is not an option right now, right? So, on a broader perspective, do you think about home at all as, I want to be home, or, actually, I won't put words in your mouth. Do you think about home at all as a place that you can work?
Okay, so I came here when I was 15.
Yes.
So I've spent all my older teenage years and adult years in the United States.
Yes.
Would I love to live in the Gambia? Oh, yes. Definitely would. Would I like to work in the Gambia? I would, but where? Then they start saying, oh, work for the UN. I don't want to work for the UN in the Gambia. If I'm going to work for the Gambia, I want to work that's directly benefiting my people.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I have a friend who is doing very well. He does something similar to what I'm doing, but he's a math genius. And you see, I see him and I'm excited for him.
Yes.
I don't even know where to start if I wanted to go to Gambia. The only place I can think of is going private and starting my own thing. But then I think about it. It's not like I couldn't use more money. Of course I can. Of course we all can.
Yes.
But I'm comfortable. So, and like I said, I know the USA more than I know the Gambia.
Right. Because of the age.
28 years.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Then I have these little quirks about me that are like, I go to Gambia, customer service is trash. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? I am in the bank trying to do a transaction and everybody disappears. And I'm like, where's everybody? Oh, they went to pray. Seriously? I have things to do. I'm here to do a transaction so I can leave. And you leave you could not take it in batches. Like, can we do this in batches? Half of you go, half of you stay. No, but everybody?
I like how you put that. I like how you said that. You have no problem with anybody going to pray, but as a professional setting where business has to be rolling, as long as you're open, you can structure yourself to have somebody attend to customers during prayers, whether their religion is different or whether they will pray after, but so you're taking me to challenges already, that have to do with, like, lifestyle or a certain way of living that you're used to, right? That comes from, all right, you seeing and knowing Gambia, living outside of the Gambia for this long, right? So when you look at the two, is that level of convenience also a factor where you're thinking about convenience, you're thinking about, your standard of living, whatever standard you now have formed for yourself? Do you look at that as a challenge enough to actually think about home and go pause?
No, not
Hmm.
really, because I go home and in the house I'm fine,
Yes.
and I love being at home because
Yes.
we have help.
Yes.
People
Yes.
cook for me.
Yes.
Here I cook
Yes.
for myself. I do my
Yes.
own laundry.
Yes.
I do my own, take my own dry cleaning to dry
Yes.
cleaners.
Yeah.
But home, you have help.
Yeah.
If you want a driver, you got a driver. If you
Yeah.
want somebody to clean your house
Hmm.
every day, you got somebody to do that. So
Hmm.
no,
Hmm.
that's not a deterrent. It's just the other stuff.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm. Hmm.
outside of the home
Hmm.
that just pose a problem.
The things you can't
The
change,
things I can't fix because
you can't
it's
fix.
not within my control.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So yeah, like
Yes.
you go to a restaurant and you
Hmm.
order a drink and you said, "Can I have extra? Can I have ice?"
Hmm.
And the ice comes out and it's 2 cubes. I'm like, "Can I have more ice?" Oh,
Yes.
we have to go get some ice.
Mm.
You didn't
Yes.
know you were running out of ice
Hmm.
until
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
It's just those little things, and
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
people say the fareo or the fayaho
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's just what I like.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't I get what I like?
Yeah.
So I find myself going to the same restaurants in Gambia because I
Hmm.
know they'll provide the service
Hmm.
that I like.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. And I'll bunch all of that in just one, where you're talking about, stuff that a country as big as the US, where you will go and, whether it's culture, whether it's the way things are done, whether it's just systems, right? You can go and actually choose what places you go for the service that they offer or render. And if it's not good enough, if it's not up to your standard, you can leave and have options, right? Or, you can complain, as a customer.
you can Yelp them.
Yeah, yeah, you can yelp them, right? Right. So we say that lightheartedly, but that becomes part of what you deem important to you,
Mm.
right? It's important. Like, you call it little things, but these things can be, I see how they have a factor, and I've spoken to enough people to know. Actually, not long ago, you mentioned Anna. We spoke to somebody that these conveniences are enough for them to say, I'm not going to go home, right? It's big. It's big time. Um, um, I'm not going to dwell on that. There's a lot of things that I want to know from you. Okay, Anna? You have been here this long, right? And what, I went there again? Well, you're relevant to this conversation, right? The diaspora has been spoken of, like, and I'm talking about Africa in general, where, hey, you guys have left, right? We want you to be a part of the solution of Africa. So now I'm talking about at a grand scheme, right? We want you to be a part of the solution of Africa, right? We don't want you to complain about Africa whilst you're away, right? Um, if you are sitting at a dinner table and the person across from you actually says that to you, I just want to be a fly on the wall. What is the conversation going to be like? How are you going to talk about that? Like, they say we are away, and basically we should not have anything to say if we're not on the ground.
And I get that a lot. It's not just a dinner table. I get that a lot, where people
Okay.
say, "How are you complaining about Gambia when you don't even live in Gambia?" Well, first of all, I was 15 when I left. It
Right.
was not because I was like, "Oh yeah, I can't stand Gambian out."
Mm-hmm.
I left because my mother required me to leave, so I
Yes.
did.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I've done all my adult life in America, so I know
Right.
America most. But as
Yes.
much as I complain about America, I
Mm-hmm.
have every God-given right to
Mm-hmm.
complain about Gambia.
Oh yeah.
I am a Gambian,
Mm-hmm.
whether I'm in the diaspora or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
I have a right to say I don't like the way my country is going.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think I do enough within Gambia, for
Mm-hmm.
Gambia, where
Mm-hmm.
I have a right to say how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm not on Facebook Live and Instagram Live every day talking about what I do and what I don't do, doesn't mean you sitting in Gambia has the right to tell me what I can and can't do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First of
Mm-hmm.
all,
Mm-hmm.
it's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bubble in your head, it's a bubble in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, who are you to tell
Mm-hmm.
me that I can't say anything about Gambia?
Mm-hmm. 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 And it's I remember having this conversation and same thing. This person that I spoke to expressed, how they do have the right, but the twist there is this person feel like, all right, hey, there's some element of truth in what they're saying. Let me go ahead and actually be on the ground in order to make a change. And for me, that's not how I see it. But this person saw it as okay, they were agreeing with them and keeping their mouth shut until they're over there to actually affect change directly on the ground. I've already heard your opinion. That sounds ludicrous to me. I feel like we, as people that were born there, not only that, I don't care if even you were born there, as long as you're Gambian, because there are also Gambians that I spoke to, or Africans that I spoke to that have their parents from an African country and they were born outside of and they claim Africa 100%, which I give them 100% credit for even thinking about that. So all of us outside the continent, I feel like, should have a say, because it comes from a place of wanting, the best for our continent, for our countries of origin. Let me bring this up, right? Because it's in that same theme of just how leadership is failing Africa. Gambia, that West African region, Senegal, all the way down to them Chad and the Togos and the Benins, all of like there's an epidemic of like just the youth trying to just leave the continent.
Back way.
In Gambia, we coined it back way, where they take this dangerous route, and I'm explaining it to people that don't know. They take this dangerous route where they're not traveling to Europe through traditional, like the regular means, get a visa and fly in. They're taking all they own, and some of them all they have, because they have parents selling land and livestock and whatever they can gather to generate cash and hand to their child, to take this risky back road where they go through, for Gambians, go through Senegal and the Sahara Desert and use smugglers to help them get to from point A to point B, where they get robbed and killed because people know they're traveling with cash. Take this risky route and go drown and die, or make it to Europe and be in some sort of camp for a long time. This thing that's going on, what will you attribute it to? Why? Why is the youth trying to leave the continent?
I think of it as a bottle of water. If you pop it open and let oxygen in, the water flows better out. I think what is going on with our youth is we have closed the bottle of water and we're suffocating them, and the water's not flowing anywhere. So they're stagnant. They feel desolate. They feel like I have a grade 9 degree. I have a high school degree.
Mm-hmm.
I can't find a job.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the United States where you can say, well, you can go to McDonald's. There's no
And get a
McDonald's.
minimum wage job, yeah.
You get a minimum. There are no minimum wage jobs.
Nothing.
To pump gas in the Gambia, how do you even start going about to get a job doing that?
Yeah.
Think about it. The gravity of how heavy it must be on you to prefer death over staying at home with your parents. But then if you stay at home with your parents, you're going to watch them die anyway. So you thinking, if I chance it, the 30% chance I have of making it is worth it to me.
It's worth taking,
Such a risk.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them have died?
Oh.
Now girls are doing it.
The girls are doing it.
And then they're getting raped.
Yes.
They're getting maimed.
Yes.
There was a time we saw all these videos of these Arabs burning them with candles and things.
Yes.
And they're still girls. If you ask them today, are willing to take that risk.
Today.
They know what's out there.
As we
They're
speak.
still willing.
Mm-hmm.
So think of the mindset of that person, where they're willing to put themselves in harm's way like that.
What are they running away from?
Just to be able to give that $5 chance to take care of their parents.
Yes. Yes.
This is a mentality that we grow up with.
Yes. Yes.
But then think about me. I'm taking care of my mother. That's one generation. I'm taking care of myself. That's second generation. And I have children. I'm taking care of my children. That's third generation. While the West, I take care of my children only. And then when I get older, I take care of myself. I'm responsible for myself.
Yes.
So the West incorporates this mechanism that they have instilled in them from generations. That you're not responsible for your parents. Yes, you do for them if you want to, but you're not responsible for them because they've worked. They have Social Security now.
Yeah, they have systems in place that can take care of them.
If they get older, their Social Security is not enough, you can pilot your house to the government, and the government pays for your elderly living. They have systems in place. I remember my grandmother's Social Security check. She used to leave it there for months, maybe years before she collects it. It's like $400. We spend that now on drinks.
Yeah. I mean, if you can hardly buy a can of drink. Yeah.
So, yes, people say you don't understand because you left when you were younger. I understand.
Of course you
I
do.
might not walk in your shoes, but I have empathy where I can actually leave outside of my body and experience your experience. During COVID, I would not leave my house without gloves, mask. I was scared. Now, take that fear, multiply it by at least 20. That's what these people are going through to go back way. And there's nothing they can do to protect themselves. Nothing.
And if I'm a parent, now, I have a 4-year-old, so I know if my child is to take a risk like that, take that back road where I know there's a chance they will die or at least suffer before they get to that destination, and I still go, like, what it takes or what it will take for me to actually finance that trip, you gotta then look at what they're running away from. Hannah, we're already close to halfway through. There's a lot more that I want to talk about, right? But I want to pick it up from here. Do a woosa, right? And there's this part of at this point of the segment, I call it, teach me something I don't know. Please, if there's anything you think I don't know, Please teach me something I don't know, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you know whether I know it or not. If you fail, I'll tell you to try again. If you get it in one go, we'll go to this second part of this segment. Teach me something you think I don't know.
Something
Yes.
you don't know that I know. It's therapeutic to cut vegetables.
It is?
It is. Yesterday I cut a big bowl of okra.
What were you cooking?
Well, I was cutting it because I wanted to make some soup. So instead of putting it in my blender and
Yeah.
I sat here with my knife
Uh-huh.
and cut okra.
So,
It's therapeutic.
How is that important to you? Like that moment, of therapy. How
It's
is that
quieting. I am one for my brain to constantly be talking. And so it quiets my brain.
Which is important.
It quiets my anxiety.
It's important.
And I just sit here and I concentrate on cutting. At least I'm not cutting people, so.
Oh, God. Oh, wow. All right.
So it's therapeutic to cut
Vegetables,
leaves for plastas, things like that. Like
so find time to, like, whether it's the kitchen or just something you're doing that, is repetitive, like just to quiet your mind
my
down.
friend finds a great deal of therapy in just writing. So she sits down and she writes the
handwriting.
Yeah, she just sits there and writes. She has a journal that she inputs at least twice a day.
So it sounds to me like, that is important to you, finding time to kind of like,
detox.
They call it think about what you're thinking.
Yeah. Quiet time is good for everybody. Everybody needs quiet time. Even if it's for just 30 minutes. Just, as you said, wusa.
Wusa. Actually, experts actually say 15, so even if you don't have 30, 15 minutes of, when I, around my friends and family, when I say meditate, they say you just want to sleep. But finding time to kind of like think about your thoughts is like, it's healthy.
Very healthy. For your mental health.
Thank you, Hannah. Let's go back to unwoosaing, because where I want to take you right now is